everyone. Welcome to my channel, Budget for Success. Woo! You know what time it is. It's Smart Money Tuesday. Woo woo! Smart Money Tuesday. Yes. My name is Onyx. Welcome to Smart Money Tuesday. I am so glad that you are here. However, if you are here for the first time, stop. I need you to go back and listen to my video from Friday, September 27th. The link will be somewhere in this video. I want you to go back and watch that video because I had story time during that video. And it was hilarious, but it was also fundamental to these videos that I'm about to record in a series of 7 videos, the unofficial guide to achieving your goals. I am going to walk you through the 7 steps that I went through to get from homelessness to basically I'm a millionaire right now. I have assets of over $1 million. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm very happy and I'm blessed and I'm thankful for what has occurred over the years, but I'm going to share my story because that journey from being homeless to where I am today, my goodness, it was quite a journey. I can laugh and joke and have fun about it now, but when I was going through it, it was another story. I also hope that if I share my story, it will encourage people because there are some people that will be at various places in my journey. And so if you can just hear from someone that said, I walked and this is what I did. These are the 7 steps. Here it is up there, 7 steps. 7 steps to creating a roadmap to success. These are the 7 steps that I took. So I want you to get on board with me, okay? All right, so let's get started. Yes. So this is the Unofficial Guide to Achieving Your Goals by Onyx Jones. This book is available in Amazon. Please click on the link in this video to go to my website where you can purchase this book. I would love for you to follow along in the book because number one, trust me, if you go buy the book, I think I make $1, maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to get rich off of the book sales. I want you to go buy the book because the book is going to help you. We are going to work through each of these chapters like a workbook. We are going to make this book work for us. So if you are ready for a shift, you're ready for a change, then I need you to get on board. Whoop, whoop, get on board. All right. So this is 7 steps to creating your roadmap to success. I live these steps, guys. I walk these steps. So I am excited to share my steps with you. So I grew up in West Philadelphia. That's actually the home that I lived in on the top story there, up top. Now, when I lived there, it wasn't open. We had screens there because we needed protection. And so, this was, my experience. When I lived in West Philadelphia, that was just all that I knew. Like I hadn't been anywhere else. I really hadn't experienced a whole lot. And then as I grew older, my dad, he moved to California just on a whim. And so I went to visit. I didn't get to live in California initially, but I got to visit. And just going to California, not that California doesn't have places like this. Yes, it does. But it was just getting somewhere different where I could experience something different to realize that there was just a great big world out there. And I didn't have to stay isolated in my one space that I had lived in for, the formative years as I grew up. And so it really helped me see that I needed to expand my horizons. So here we go, the unofficial guide to achieving your goals. So it doesn't matter right now if you're homeless or if you're in a bad relationship. If you listen to my video on September 27th, you will recall I was not in a good relationship. And I got out with faith and no money in my pocket and a whole lot of faith. If you're just not living your full potential, let's make it a practice to walk in these 7 principles that I'm going to share with you. I believe that you will notice remarkable shifts in your life if you take this journey with me, okay? I am going to tackle various areas that can impact you. We're going to talk about family, faith, fitness, finances, that 4 F's. And those things that transitioned that I have today, they did not happen overnight. They were 20 years plus in the making. But just because it took me years doesn't mean that it's going to take you that long because you've got me and we are going to get through this journey together. So if you really want to see a change, consistency is key. Show up for my Smart Money Tuesdays for the next 7 weeks. Okay. You show up and I promise you, you will notice a shift because we're going to tackle the importance of goals partners. I'm going to tell you through my story time how goals partners made a difference in my life. We're going to talk about spiritual life. Then we're going to also talk about visualization and talents and skills. You have got to hone your skills. You want to be successful, you've got to hone those skills, whatever they are. And don't let anyone pass judgment on your skills, thinking that your skills aren't really valuable or important. I have seen people make a living off of skateboarding. So you can do whatever works for you, whatever makes you happy. But whatever it is, let's hone it. Let's perfect it. Let's get it at a level where you can operate and flow and monetize. Yes. And then we're going to talk about a goals mapping process, and you cannot get to your goals without talking about finances. So we will hit on the finances. And then finally, woo! How to live with passion. You guys are going to wonder why. In my videos, I'm always so excited. It's because I live with passion. When you live with passion, the smallest things excite you. So we are going to get into it. Yes, yes, yes. So step number 1 is select a goals partner. I have a quote in my book from Helen Keller that says, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. Goals partners are critical to the process. They help you, push you, motivate you, inspire you. There's this synergy that's created when you're connected to the right people. So what traits are we looking for when we're reaching out to find goals partners? And you don't have to label certain people as goals partners, but just know those are the people that are your go-to people when you want to talk, you want to share, you want to get motivated, inspired. So one trait is that you must have mutual respect with each other. They have to be encouraging to you. You've got to be encouraging to them. And you want someone that is honest. Okay. You know, you may have some friends that you sit there and listen to them and go, what? Where'd you get that from? Okay. That's not someone, they could be your friend, but you may not want them to be your goals partner, right? You want someone that's going to be honest because you are going to be very transparent with them going through this process. Find someone that communicates well. If you have someone that flies off the handle and gets upset or angry because something you said, that's not a good goals partner. You want someone that's pretty even keel, that you have great conversation with, and someone that's available to you, because you're going to need to connect with them frequently. If they're very busy because they're always on the go, then they may not be your ideal goals partner as well. So if they're available, they're willing to share quality time. And so you guys are going to the coffee shop, you're having lunch, you're getting on the phone, you may have a Zoom call, whatever it is that allows you to have quality time. Not, oh, here, let me get you in for 5 minutes that I have in between meetings. That's not quality time. They answer the phone and go, hey, I got a few minutes, what's up? You go, oh, no worries. I'll call you later when you're free, because you want to have quality time together and you want someone that's going to hold you accountable. Okay. Not someone that when you give your BS and go, you know, yeah, I couldn't get around to it because I was busy. And they go, no, that's not an excuse, because are you still trying to get to your goal? Are you still trying to figure out your why? Are you still reaching? And do you remember what was important to you? They are going to hold you accountable. They're going to ask you questions to make you realize that you are just shooting BS. And there were moments where I had to be held accountable in my process, or I would have just stayed stuck. The discipline I have today is not the same discipline I had many years ago. And they should also have similar core values that you have so that you can connect with one another. All right. And core values are things that help you value, they create your morals, right? What do you value in a person? What do you feel is important? They should feel that those same values are important. All right. You must have similar values. And most importantly, a great goals partner knows how to have fun. All right. So when you read through chapter 1, it tells you all how to identify a goals partner. And there's an exercise with that. I want you to write down the answers to these questions, because these are things that you are going to work on with your goals partner. So That's what we are going to do right now. We are going to write down what's one thing that you want to accomplish this year. Yes. Why is this goal so important to you? And what will be your reward when you accomplish it? All right. So right now I'm your goals partner. I want you to pause the video and I want you to just write something down, anything, but just get in the practice of writing down your goals. I have journals on top of journals on top of journals. I have a journal right here, right now. Everywhere I went, I had a journal. Journals help you get through the process. So pause this video and write down the answers to these questions. No, really, pause the video. I'm looking at you. Pause the video and we'll be right back, okay? All right. Okay, I hope you paused the video and I hope you wrote some things down. So I want you to get on the phone and find that goals partner. Talk to them about what you wrote down. Share that information with them and see if they can give you some feedback, some ideas. Encourage them to grab this book and go and do the journey with you. Now, I also want you to go into our step 1 process of the book and turn to page 6. And there's a section there where you can write down some answers to questions, okay? I want you to write down those answers as well on page 6 of the book, as well as the answers here on the slide. And I want you to call your goals partner and say, hey, I'd love to hook up with you. I want to share some things with you right now. Do you have some time in the next day or two where we can just chit chat, whether by phone, video, chat, or if you can actually get together at a coffee shop and sit down and really talk about this. This goals partner could be your spouse. It could be anyone. Have them go purchase this book as well. You can even purchase the ebook version so you can get it instantly, and go to page 6 and answer those questions with your goals partner, okay? Now, let me tell you why goals partners are so important. All right, story time. Woo, woo. This is what you have all been waiting for. Okay, go back, September 27th, listen to the first part of the story. But where I left off was one of my clients pressed a $100 bill into my hand and said, God told me to give you this money. And he was so right. We used that money and we bought a bunch of food. I shared it with my mom. And let me tell you, for quite a while, it was touch and go. I stayed at my mom's house, my aunt's house here and there. I stayed at a friend's house. She didn't even have room for me, but she didn't care. She opened her doors to my daughter and I anyway. And we stayed together. Wherever we stayed, it was me and my daughter, my mom's house, wherever. We found a way. And one day, that same church, that same church that I was slain in the spirit, I went back. Yes, I did. I kept going back incognito. They didn't know who I was. I just kept going back. They wanted to move into a huge 30,000 square foot facility, but they had to go through the city to get approval. And it was in a city I had previously worked for. And I was like, oh my goodness, maybe I can help. So I called one of my goals partners, someone who I had already been working with and helping me work through this process of how do I reach my goals and achieve my goals, but very knowledgeable person, very smart. And I said, hey, what can I do to help the church? You know, they've got to get into this building, but they have to go through the city. And so this person gave me some suggestions and some ideas about how to get through the process. So there's what's called a planning commission meeting, and they meet and they agree like what types of businesses or services or organizations can occupy what space. So I was like, that's 30,000 square feet. They would likely want retail in there because that's a lot of sales tax. But that person was like, hey, Onyx, you're finance, you know money. How can the city still win if the church takes the space? I came up with my dream presentation. I went to the pastor who I didn't even know at the time. He didn't know me, but I was like, look, just trust me. I was like, one day you spoke to my spirit. I followed, I moved. And right now, God's telling me I should help you with this getting into the city. And he prayed about it, called me and said, I want you to speak. In fact, God told me, let you speak, nobody else speak. Because that was the strategy. We are not going to go and take all their time during the meeting and have 100 people go and speak. So I was like, oh my God, he just wants me to speak. Okay. Because in the planning commission, is if you've ever been to a public meeting, you're allowed to speak. It's required. So we went and I got up there and I had my speech. And I talked about how not only will residents that are in the city come to the church, but people from all neighboring cities will come into the city, into the church. And it was right off the freeway. I said, we plan on having memberships and attendance of thousands, sometimes 2,000 people. They're coming in right off the freeway. There's plenty of parking. But before they go, they will be hungry. They will want to eat at the neighboring restaurants. They will visit and frequent the Walmart that's right across the street. And we don't just have church on Sunday. We have Wednesday night and we have Friday and Saturday. We have activities throughout the week. And hundreds to thousands of people will be coming into this church and coming into the city and through the city, and they will probably need gas as well. So I just sold it, and it was an out-of-body experience. I don't even remember everything I said, but when I went back to my seat, everyone from the church was like, yeah, woo-hoo. So I was like, okay, I did good. And they deliberated, the planning commissioners, they talked and they went back and forth, and at the end of the day, they approved it. And the director looked at us and said, go build your church. And it was like, yes, victory, victory. And I was so happy because I was able to speak on behalf of a church that had really meant a lot to me, had made me just create decisions that I never would have done on my own. And so I was like, it was my way of giving back. Well, through that experience, my goals partner had heard through the grapevine that I had done such a wonderful job, and put in a good word for some folks at the city who could make decisions. And wouldn't you know that the finance manager, I believe, yes, the finance manager at the city left. And I got a call. Would I like to take a temporary assignment? And it was really through word of mouth, through having this goal partner, through stepping up by faith and speaking on behalf of the church. And before I know it, I was now working in the finance department. So I had a job. I had like a job. It wasn't a permanent job. I didn't have benefits. It was a temporary job, but I had work. I had money coming in. Now, another goals partner that I was working with, she was more of a friend / mentor, but yet we were still connected in like a way of, I got you. And so this friend had a landlord who had just purchased a brand new what do you call it? Fourplex, brand new fourplex, not brand new. The fourplex wasn't brand new, but it was new to him. He had just bought it and he was trying to clean it up and clean it out. So he had 2 empty apartments on the top floor. And so he was like, look, you came as a high recommendation from my tenant, who was also my goals partner. And he was like, not only am I going to let you move in, and I realize your income, is temporary, but you're still making money. But I'm also going to let you pick who you want for your neighbor next door to you. What? So, I found a lady at the church who I have been friends with, talking to, who also needed a place to stay. And she moved in. And we had a GO time. So I had a temporary job through a goals partner. I got to speak on the church's behalf through advice from another goals partner. And then yet another goals partner helped me get an apartment. Let me tell you the power of connections, of having people that you can relate to and connect with and share with. So here I am, I have an apartment. Now here's one thing that's critical before we close out this story time. You must understand, there was a valuable piece that I had not figured out yet, and that was how to heal from past trauma. And so what I was in was a vicious cycle of trauma after trauma after trauma. Trauma and victory, trauma and victory, trauma and victory. That was the pattern. Have a trauma, have a victory, have a trauma, have a victory. I was locked in that pattern, and I did not figure that out for many years to come of how to shift that. So what happened? It wasn't all roses in my new apartment. We had a good time. We had some fun. My daughter and I were getting settled in. The job that I had was not far. In fact, I could go home for lunch. But one day when I went home from lunch, the neighbors downstairs, my daughter played with their son all the time. They were a little rough, but I was from Philly, I knew the streets, and I was like, look, they do stay in their lane, I stay in my lane. My daughter played with their son, they had fun when they played together, so all was well. But one day I came home and there were more people there than normal. There was some folks there I'd never seen before, and it was a gentleman sitting on the stairs, and I have to use the stairs to get to my apartment. And I approached him, and it's just that his eyes were steel. I mean, it was just the most unnerving feeling. And y'all, I'm from the hood. So when you approach someone and it's obvious you need them to get out your way, it's almost like the first person that says something is going to lose. And so you speak with your eyes, your body language. You say, I'm not afraid, but you need to move. You need to get your ass out the way. And I did that. And he did not budge. He just stared back at me. So I stared at him and we locked eyes. And I was like, my God, what is going on? This is my home. No. But we just locked eyes. Finally, the neighbor came out and he's like, man, get out the way. It's good people. She good people. Move out the way. My kids play with together. Like he was letting him know, get his ass out the way. And I was just like, thank you, Lord. So he moved. And I said to the neighbor, hey, how are you? And then I nodded my head to him like, thank you. I wasn't like, oh, thank you so much. I just said, thank you. And I moved and I walked by him and I went to have my lunch. And I was like, what am I going to do? I hope they don't stay. Are they going to be gone when I get down there? And so it just didn't feel right. And so I left. And then after work, I grabbed my daughter from my mom. She was helping me out with my daughter. And I told my mom what happened. And I was like, I'm so afraid because I don't know if they're still going to be there when we get back, and my mom was like, oh, honey, it'll be okay. Because you can't stay here. You got your own place now, but it'll be okay. So here, take this prayer oil. And I want you to anoint the windows and the doors, outside, inside, everything. Just anoint you and Imani, but it'll be okay. Just take this prayer oil. So I was like, okay, all right, then I'm going to take your prayer oil. I'm going to go home and I'm going to put oil all over the place. And so we got home, nobody was there. We put the oil on outside, inside, everywhere on us. We're like, okay, guys, you're going to get us through. It's going to be okay. And I kid you not, they came back that night and they were loud. And it was almost like they were having some sort of celebration or something. I don't know what was going on. But guess what? I was not going to do. I was not going to go down there and tell them to be quiet. I wasn't. And I was like, oh, I hope they don't stay here long. Because everything in my being, my mother intuition, everything said, you in danger, girl. You in danger. I was like, oh my God. Don't tell me my one place I found that I could move in with no credit checks or nothing. It's not going to work out for me. Please, Lord, make a way out of no way. So we went to sleep that night. And I think it was 2 or 3 a.m. I cannot tell you for sure. But all of a sudden, boom, bam, like an explosion, boom, goes off. And I'm just freaking out. I jump out of bed. I run and grab my daughter and we get under the bed. I just grab her and we get under the bed because the ground is shaking. The whole building, it's a fourplex. The whole thing is like shaking. I know it wasn't an earthquake because it was a boom with it. And I was like, oh my God. And once it stopped, you could hear this yelling and then bam, bam, bam. Like, is it a shot or is it something else? I couldn't tell. I looked out back. There was nobody out back. I couldn't see anything. I was like, oh my God, what do we do? So I told my daughter, stay under the bed. And I crawled to the front. And I looked and peeked out the window just to see what the hell was going on because it was red coming in through the windows and the blinds. And I was like, I got to see what's going on. And I looked. No, it was SWAT. The SWAT team was in front of the apartment, like everywhere. There was SWAT, black men in black. Now, when y'all say, here comes the men in black, you ain't seen nothing till you seen a whole SWAT team full of men in black. I was like, oh my God. So, I'm thinking, okay, well, I work for the city. I'm gonna pop my head open. So I opened the door just a little bit and peeped out. And the SWAT guy was like, go back inside, ma'am. I was like, oh, okay. Shut the door. I said, we ain't gonna say hi today. We won't say hello to the SWAT man, right? No, not tonight. So I looked through the door. Y'all, when I tell you God answered overnight, those gentlemen were escorted off the property in handcuffs. I don't know what happened to them, but I do know that they were gone. And I was like, oh my God. Like, hey, Nana, that oil, some real oil. That's some real oil right there. We ain't messing with that oil. Oh my gosh. Like my answer, to prayer. But I knew though I needed to move. They could come back when they got out of jail, whatever. I don't know. They could come back. I just knew I needed to get out. And then I found out later from the police chief that they had been staking out the place. I was like, oh, somebody let me know you were staking out the place. But anyway, how well were you staking it out that you didn't see that you had a fellow employee living upstairs? Why wouldn't you give us a heads up or something? But that person and several others, they got who all they were looking for, but they were all wanted for multiple murders. And so it was like, oh my God, like I couldn't believe, my daughter, she was down there playing with the sun. Outside all the time, but still the scariness of it. So I knew we needed to move. The whole point of this revelation to me was this trauma was still entrenched in me. And it was like, yes, I got the victory in the end, and I was able to move and come back for more story time. And I'll tell you all the events that happened after that, because my journey's still going on. But it was goals partners that helped me get to even that space, right? God just was telling me, even though you've arrived, you have an apartment, you have a job, you have income coming in, I'm still pushing you to greater things. So you can't stay here. You're going to be moving forward. And that worked. But I kind of created the drama that went along with it through my mindset, through my fears, through my worry, through basically what had occurred in past years. And it was a form of like PTSD, because you just kept that trauma going in your life. And it's repeated. It looks different. It feels different, but it's still the same old trauma reappearing. So these 7 steps are critical for helping you get past that. So you got to come back and listen to the rest of the steps. We're only on step 1. Step 1 is building connections, networking, forming goals, partner relationships, setting goals, and start moving towards your goals. But there's so much more to this process. So come back and go through the 7 steps with me. Consistency, consistency, consistency. So if you like this video and you want more videos, come back to Smart Money Tuesdays. Yes, yes, yes. And like, comment, and subscribe to Budget for Success. Bye for now. Love you guys.